Well, eNCA's Erin Bates is following this story and joins us live from Parktown, the venue of the state capture inquiry. Erin, good morning to you. So the former Minister of Mineral Resources, Ngoako Ramatlhodi, appears at the commission this morning, but he's not the only one who will be testifying. He'll be testifying alongside his former advisor. We already know what they said publicly, but are they likely to accentuate what they've previously stated on record?
Well, what we can expect is for some repetition of what's already in the public domain over this acquisition by Optimum of those coal mines which were owned by Glencore and the influence of Eskom in that acquisition, and probably some corroboration from Ramatlhodi's advisor at the time, as you rightly pointed out, an advocate, Matlhodi Muefe, who's also set to testify. And clearly, as much as these matters might seem aspects of the past, of a previous administration, the issue on Optimum coal mine is very much a matter for the present. There were court cases earlier this year over opposition to the business rescue practitioners whom people associated with the Gupta had problems with. There was actually an attempt to buy Optimum by a company that some people alleged was a front for a company linked to the Gupta family. And there are workers currently who are employed by subsidiaries of the Broad Oak Bay Group who haven't been paid this month, while some of Optimum's coal mine assets in Mpumalanga are in business rescue. And so all of these matters have a very tangible impact on the lives of workers in the coal mining sector in Mpumalanga. So as much as Ramatlhodi is going to talk about the past, about the time he was the Minister of Mineral Resources and the acquisition of that coal mine, or those coal mines, I should say, we must remember that these matters are still very much alive and have been ventilated in court.
Indeed, Erin, and of course, the former president's son, and that's Duduzane, will also be likely drawn in by the former Mineral Resources, Ngoako Ramatlhodi.
Yes, and we already know that Duduzane Zuma is eager to cross-examine some of the witnesses that have testified under oath before the inquiry. He may well want to respond to some of what Ramatlhodi and his advisors say today. We don't yet have a date on when Duduzane Zuma's cross-examination will begin, although we do know that Ncebisi Jonas is set down for cross-examination, and Nhlanhla Nene as well at the beginning of next year for Nene once his sprained ankle has healed. So there's been a postponement on that front, and as yet no version from Zuma Senior, the former President Jacob Gedlehle Kiza Zuma, on his implication in some of the testimony before the inquiry so far. But as you will note, Chloe, we did have one of the top 6 before the inquiry yesterday, which is a significant moment because it's the first time in over 3 months since the public hearing began that we have heard from someone in the former or current top 6 of the governing party.
All right, Erin, and of course it's important for us to just remind the viewers again of what the former Minister of Mineral Resources, Ngoako Ramatlhodi, said, in particular when he claimed that Duduzane tried to pressure him to meet with the Guptas. Let's just listen in for a second.
He said, maybe you should meet one of my partners, Ajay Gupta. I said, no, why should I meet Ajay? And he said to me, he had reported this to his father. I said, I am going to report back to your father this discussion. And I did that. I went back to the president, said to him, I've had this discussion, and I've refused to meet this guy.
And what was the president's response to that?
No, I said, it's okay, there's no problem.
And there was no further pushing you to meet the family after that, Mr. Ramatlhodi?
No.
But would you say that there were any consequences? Would you say that there was a negative impact on you doing your job thereafter when you refused to meet with the Guptas?
I leave that to public opinion.
All right, Erin, as we wrap up our discussion, just a quick reminder of the Commission Chairperson, very important statement he made yesterday about the utterances, whether targeted at the Commission itself, any of its employees or personnel, and of course the whole issue around the renting of that building for the use of the State Capture Commission.
Yes, Xoli, important to reflect on that Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo addressed a number of issues around the commission, including its venue, him stipulating that when he was appointed, he was very eager for the inquiry to use government premises for the public hearings, but he then listed a number of the buildings that had been earmarked to potentially host the hearings, and none of them were found to be suitable for these hearings. He's denied and sort of dismissed the idea that Times Media Group has been profiting from this, and we'd heard about that not only from Zwanele Manyi under oath at the inquiry, but also during EFF protests outside the venue. Zondo then dealt with the integrity and credibility of his team. He stands by the inquiry's legal team, including by name Advocate Paul Pretorius, the head of the inquiry's legal team, who'd been subject to a press statement from an academic union, quite poorly known, but nonetheless an academic union asking questions about his qualifications and fittingness for the job, and then also some really disparaging remarks from the EFF's leader Julius Malema outside the inquiry venue last week. Zondo importantly also said that people with information or bandying about allegations of misconduct, malfeasance and the like in connection with state capture must come forward to the inquiry and provide that evidence under oath and substantiate really their allegations. And it's very easy to draw the link there because he was talking about the protests outside the inquiry venue with the allegations from the likes of Malema regarding the Public Enterprises Minister Praveen Gordhan, who the party now alleges is an agent of state capture of some kind. And so Zondo dealt with those issues. He stands by the legal team and the investigative team, and he says at this point the inquiry is not going to lay any charges, although conduct not only of some of the members of the political fraternity but also the press have breached the Commissions Act and the terms of reference and rules of this inquiry.
All right. Thank you very much, Erin Bates, at the venue of the state capture inquiry in Parktown. Keeping an eye on that particular story. We'll take you live to that commission as soon as it starts.